our Sergeant at Arms, Jennifer Crampton, our Secretary, Dave Goggins, the Vice President, is over there. Victor Bronya, CLC Chair, is over there. Robin Reed, I don't believe is here tonight. She's Parks Chair. And our Treasurer, Subin Beniste, is not able to be with us. Those of you who know Sue know that she's been spending a lot of time in California with her mother, and her mother actually passed away last week. So we all are extending our condolences to Sue, and she'll be back with us. I just want to let you know that we are being recorded by Matt Conti of NEWRA.com. If we have any other members of the press here tonight? Yes. Well, don't say just. From where? From BU. Okay. Welcome. And I know you have some representatives of public officials. We have Maria Alonzo from the mayor's office, which will be making an announcement shortly. We have Michael Benetti from Councilor Edwards' office, and we have Patrick Lyons from Representative Mike Woods' office. So anybody I'm leaving out? Guess not. Okay. So I have a few other announcements to make. One is that some of you may have gotten this mailing already, but I've got extra copies if you didn't. A week from today, the Conservation Law Foundation is putting on an educational forum about the role of Chapter 91 in protecting Boston's waterfront. And unfortunately, that is going to be more and more relevant for all of us here. It is going to be at Rose Wharf, 70 Rose Wharf in the Northern Leventhal Room. It is next Thursday, September 20th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Put on by the Conservation Law Foundation, which always does really such a good job. So I have some flyers if anybody's interested, and I'm sure that Matt will also have this on his site. So that's the first announcement. My next is about the artificial turf at Popolo Park. You may remember that there were many questions that were raised about artificial turf in Popolo Park at our last meeting, and as a result of that, we asked the Parks Department to send a representative to talk to us and answer our questions. Now, we did not get a definitive answer until Monday, which also happened to be the same day that the Parks Commissioner, Christopher Cook, released a letter to members of the community about the issue. And I think I could summarize it in very briefly. And to summarize, it basically says, we're putting in the artificial turf, and we don't have to answer your stinking questions. So I think everybody should take a look at this letter. Matt has got it on his site. And one of the things I just would like to call to your attention is that Christopher Cook, the Parks Commissioner, also happens to be the environmental chief for the city of Boston. And I think if you read this letter, you will not feel sanguine about the approach with regard to environmental matters. And I think that, you know, these days, most forward-thinking people are thinking about natural solutions for our environmental issues, and that clearly is not the way we are going. So in any event, take a look at the letter. Here's some copies here, and as I said, Matt has it on his site, but we will not have the Parks Department come at least until such time as they've already put the turf in. So people, I think, will have to pursue other avenues if they are concerned about
this. There's nothing we can do about it now.
Well, I don't think that, you know, if people are concerned, I don't think they should just drop it. But I don't think, let's put it this way, the Parks Department is not prepared to come in and talk about it further. They say, we've already met with you. Of course, they already met with us, and people said they didn't like it, but So I think that there are some people who continue to be very concerned who will continue to work on this issue. I don't think it's necessarily over, but right for now, certainly the Parks Department is not coming in to answer questions. Yes, Bill?
Is that also applicable to Langone Park, the one, the ball field up on the north? Is that both of them, or
Well,
just the one?
evidently, and this is the schizoid thing, the Little League Park is going to be grass. So if the artificial turf is so great, I don't know why they're leaving that grass, but I guess we should count our blessings. I'm not going to complain about that.
So you're saying, I think the Little League Park is the one at Langone, which is
Okay, yeah, I can never keep straight which is Langone, which is Popolo. but-
Is the softball baseball?
Okay, thank you. So that's the story for now.
But is it written someplace in writing that the Little League one, the Langone one, is going to stay?
Yes, in the letter from...
Oh, it says it there?
Yes.
Okay, fine, thank you. I'll look at it.
So that is at least some consolation. Okay. To move on with our agenda, we don't have a report, I guess, for Parks and Open Spaces. Dave Kubiak is going to just give a quick summary of what's going on with the elections committee.
Yes. Every year, we create a nominating committee just before the October elections. The function of the nominating committee is to solicit nominations from the members in order to put together a slate that will be presented with the agenda for next month's meeting. So at the end of this month, or early next month, when you get the agenda, you'll also see a recommended slate of officers, officer candidates for the next fiscal year. Every year for 21 years that I've been involved, I worry that we're not going to be able to continue the executive committee in full. I always get nervous about it, and every year my fears are not proven unwarranted. And this year it's the same. That there's no reason to fear because some great members of this organization have agreed to run for the various offices. All 5 are covered by those candidates. That does not mean that they will necessarily be on the slate. That hasn't been determined yet. It also does not mean that the nominations are closed at this point. If you are interested, and I hope you are, in running for one of the offices, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, or sergeant at arms, please come to any member of the nominating committee, Mary McGee, Dave Gardens, or me. And it would be great to have a little bit of competition, too, for these positions. So think about it, especially if you've been thinking that you want to bring something new to this organization, if you're tired of old fogies like me, then please get involved and consider running for one of the offices and being on the executive committee. It's a tremendous learning experience. It's also a tremendous commitment, and we should be very grateful to those who have served and are running for this election as well. But it's also a tremendous learning experience.
Thank you, David.
Mary, Robin forwarded me an email.
Oh, go ahead.
You have it?
Yes, you go ahead. Yes, I didn't realize she had actually done that from her sick bed, so.
Yes, she sends her regrets, but Robin Reed, our Parks Commissioner, our Parks and Open Spaces Chairperson, is under the weather tonight, he can't be with us. But she sends the following updates. One, Boston Blooms and Daffodils. The Boston Parks and Recreation Department is looking for people who want to plant daffodil bulbs in our neighborhood, North End.
The artificial turf?
Unofficial.
It's artificial.
How artificial?
Well, look at that.
You can apply to pick up these free daffodil bulbs at the city website, www.boston.gov, Boston-Blooms. So if any inspiring gardeners are out there, you should check out the Boston website. Applications to receive these free bulbs are due by Friday, September 22nd. Next is North End Family Pride Day. Hopefully you've already heard about this. This coming Saturday, September 15th, North End Against Drugs will have their 29th annual North End Family Day Pride Day at Langone Park and the bocce courts. It'll be all afternoon from 12 to 4:30. Music, food, and Robin Williams, health permitting, will be there with her plastic water bottle sculpture, and she hopes you can stop by and help paint a fish or two for her project. Number 3, on the Greenway, the Walk Your Bike stencils are scheduled to be repainted this fall. Hopefully that will mitigate some of the bicycle traffic on the Greenway. And then fourthly, Christopher Columbus Park is holding their annual Fall Festival on Saturday, October 13th, from 12 to 4. And that's the Parks Open Space.
Thanks, David. Victor?
Yes.
Do you have a-
Yes, I noticed that I'm not on the agenda,
I know.
but I won't take it personally.
Oh, yeah, you shouldn't see is how you reviewed the agenda.
Yes, I did review the agenda. I wonder if there's some subtle suggestion there. Speaking of elections, the Zoning Licensing and Construction Committee is not elected. I was never elected. So if anyone would like to share the responsibilities and become co-chair, you don't even have to be voted, just come to the next meeting. The Zoning Licensing and Construction Committee had its monthly meeting in August, on August 28th, the fourth Thursday of the month. I say that inviting everyone to come to the next one, which will be September 25th. Fourth Thursday of the month.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, sorry. Today is Thursday, you're right, thanks for the correction. On the agenda and the items discussed at the August 28th meeting were 33 North Marchant Street and 279 North Street that are on today's agenda for a vote. At the upcoming meeting, September 25th, the one item so far is 276 to 282 Hanover Street, which is the building where the fire took place a few months ago that has been unoccupied since then. It's above what was Pompeii and is now located. It's going to be remodeled, and additional apartments are going to be built in an area that I'm not familiar with because you can't see it from the street. That's identified on the refusal letter from ISD as an infill area. That is, there is some open space in the back that is proposed to be filled. So that, so far, as I say, is the only one on the agenda for September 25th. There are 3 items that could be said to be pending and that we haven't heard further from them. They were discussed at the ZLC meeting. One of them is 20 Moon Street. The second one is 97 Salem Street. And the third one is 87 Salem Street. The first 2 involved construction, expansion of buildings. The 87 Salem Street was the tobacco shop. And we haven't heard further from them. I don't know whether that project is, as far as the intent is concerned. And that, I believe, is the CLC report.
Thank you, Victor.
Tonight.
Maria,
Hi, everybody. Maria Lanza, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Just a couple of announcements from the city. Today, Mayor Walsh pursued litigation against pharmaceutical companies. The city seeks to recover damages to bolstering recovery efforts in Boston due to the growing opioid epidemic. So you can read more about it at boston.gov/news. But today, the mayor held a press conference in the South End and explained the start of our litigation process with big pharmaceutical companies due to the taxpayers undertaking this opioid epidemic. So definitely check out the press release to read more into that. As for citywide initiatives, the 2019 Boston Cultural Council Organizational Grant is now live. The BCC works under the umbrella of the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture and distributes funds annually from the city and Mass Cultural Council. Organizations that may apply from the following art categories such as music, filmmaking, visual art, theater, dance, and more The deadline to apply will be Monday, October 15th, and you can check out the full application and list at boston.gov/arts and culture. There will be a household hazardous waste drop-off. The closest one to the downtown area will be Saturday, October 27th. That's from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Public Works Central Facility, which is 400 Frontage Road. They accept all clothing, textiles, free shredding, and recycled electronics at this event. City-sponsored meetings coming up this month, 41 North Margin Street, which is under the Boston Planning and Development Agency's Article 80 Small Project Review. That meeting will be held Wednesday, September 19th at 6:30 p.m. at the Knights of Columbus, which is at 41 North Margin Street. If you're not familiar with the proposal, Affirmative Investments, Inc. and East Boston CBC proposed to construct an addition and renovate 5-story mixed-use development that will propose and contain 23 affordable elderly housing units and a renovated Knights of Columbus Hall. In addition to the development, we'll have 13 off-street accessory parking spaces. Just to, I also wanted to clear the air on a couple of things. First was, you might have received a mailer that had a picture of a building going next to the pool, the Marabella Pool on Commercial Street. So while this mailer is grossly inaccurate, it is one of the sites that we've been following through the Nazaro's Community Center study. So through the study, we have actually taken all the data from the Nazaro, how it's used daily, monthly, yearly, and come up with a new scheme that would have a better community center that would service the neighborhood. The next step in the study is to plan potential site locations for a new community center. The Marabella Pool is certainly a potential site, but it has not been selected. So that mailer is grossly inaccurate. So I'd just like to clear that up. There are multiple sites being reviewed by the Public Facilities Department, and they will be back out at the end of the fall, hopefully by October, to share with the community some of the sites and the different things that they want to put into a new community
Quick
center.
question, Maria. What's the plan for this building?
Well, so that's part of it. So there's different
Condos?
sites.
We got more condos?
No, so there could be a site here, there could be one down the pool, there could be a couple of other ones. They're gonna surmise them all and then come out to the community and explain. But there has not been a decision made yet, so that, I just wanna make that very clear.
Maria, who's doing the study? The Nazaro Center's,
The community center for the Public Facilities Department.
but I mean, who is responsible for the study? Who's doing it?
The contractor is Sasaki.
Okay, so they are doing the study.
So yes, so we contracted, the Public Facilities Department has contracted Sasaki to do the study, which they've come out over the winter and into the spring. We've come out, we've had a couple of meetings here for Nazaro. They're now reviewing all of the data that they've collected from the uses and the potential sites, and they'll bring those back out to the community and say, these are some of the sites we're looking for. For the next phase of getting a new community center will be the design phase, which that money has been put into the capital investments part of our budget. And so during the design phase is when site selection will actually happen, and then construction, design, implementation, and then back to construction. Yeah.
Maria, is it posted somewhere, or how is the program for the space developed, or has it been developed?
So it's been developed by data, so they've taken, every time we sign in, when we come to one of these meetings, that's data that they're pulling, different uses from the after-school program to the sports programs, the senior programs. They take all of that from BCYF, they're working hand in hand with BCYF to see how the center is used. And they also did a study, like an online survey on how you would like to use the community center further, like if you would like to use it more for exercise classes, or could there be a better gym, like on the second floor. So stuff like that they've incorporated through the study, through coming here, seeing the space and the potential for a bigger space, how much more.
Yeah, the only reason I ask is because I've been in the neighborhood long enough that we had a lot of meetings when we talked about the why coming to the neighborhood, and there were a lot of program things that people wanted that they were hoping were going to be brought into that facility, and obviously that doesn't seem to be happening. So I'm curious to make sure that some of those things may be potential that could be into that program as well.
Right, no, definitely. The thought for them is if we're going to build a brand new community center, then we should be bringing brand new uses in. So that's definitely a
Great.
consideration. And if you want to go on boston.gov, there is a page for the Nazaro Center community, and you can actually send in, a couple of ideas, and you can go back and look at the project manager on the case. Yeah.
So, I guess it's a question of money. There was a number of $3 million for the past year, and this is just to look at the site selection. And then
That was
continue
the
to plan.
design. Yeah.
Okay. And that's true, because it's been more than 10 times that, 20 times that, to build something that
Right.
would,
So it would come from our capital budget. So like every year, last year's capital budget was for the study, that was 100,000. This year's capital plan has the 3 million for the design, so that would be site selection, processes through it, and the actual design of the building in total. And then hopefully within the capital budget after that, we would get the actual funding for the building of the building.
So one of the, if this building gets torn down, I'm very worried that the money to build a new facility is going to be taken out of selling this land for another use. I'm trying to put the new facility somewhere where, in fact, the neighborhood, in the end, is paying a substantial amount to the new construction.
That would be a possibility. So if there was the
Well,
possibility
but
of take another site,
That's not going north and doing good things. That's what that's doing.
well, no, so
We're
if it,
paying the whole thing.
so if it came down to another site, and then we did want to sell this site, all the proceeds from this site would go towards building a new community center and offset. But those haven't even been narrowed down yet, so I can't, rightfully say, yes, that will happen, or no,
I
that will
have some
not.
concern that the city is trying to use the value of this property right here to the new, for example, you could rebuild this site.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't get the money from selling this land.
The money, we need a new community center as it is, so like I said, it builds up over in the capital budget year after year. So the money will come from the city in some way or another. It could be at this building, it could be off-site, but those are the things that they're going to hash out through the study and the design phases. Does that make sense?
So,
And then, sorry, just one more. And then just to touch base on the letter from the Parks Commissioner, Chris Cook. The turf versus non-turf was studied by the Parks Department. And ultimately, I just want to read a couple of excerpts from this letter. So,
Maria, we have the letter to give out, so
Yeah.
we really.
no, I know, Mary, but I just want to make sure people know
Yeah,
that
Maria,
as a result of,
we're cutting into our agenda already. People have the letter right here, they can read it. I
Okay.
don't think we, I
but it's not
appreciate
just that the Parks Department ignored the
Okay.
request of residents.
Yeah,
I just
the
want to
letter
make
is
sure
here.
that,
I think we're all capable of reading it.
okay, I'm not reading it.
Okay.
I'm just
We're
saying that
okay, we
the
just have-
decision made by the Parks Department was through other associations like yourself, the North End Athletic Association rallied for a turf field, as well as the Elliott School rallied for a turf
Thank you,
field.
Maria. We understand. So
Okay.
we need to get onto the agenda.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.